Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third week of College Football Unscripted's Real Talk podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, and I'm here once again with my co host, Anthony. Say what's up, Anthony.
What's up, everybody? Tyler, appreciate you, man. Always a good one coming on with you.
Absolutely. It was another up and down week in college football. What were your overall thoughts of just the week in general?
Wow, the game of football never fails. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. That's football, right? Just like we talk about.
Exactly. As we said last week, that's football, baby. And speaking of that's football, I don't know if you caught the Louisville game. They are falling faster than Joe Biden down Air Force One stairs because they lost another game against Clemson 20-19. They were what, like high tens last like couple weeks ago, and they just keep finding ways to lose games. Guess what? One of the teams that we talked about last week, Navy, had a huge upset beating USF 41-38. And you know what, Anthony? I take back my comments last week because Navy proved they're the ones with the big guns this week, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Navy came out and balled. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't catch too much of that game. I apologize for that one. Now my defense, it is my wife's birthday weekend, and it's like a big thing for her. So I'm, happy wife, happy life is what they say, right, Tyler? Um,
Absolutely. And you really can't go wrong. Another throwback to a coach that we talked about last week, Boston College. They almost pulled off the upset against Georgia Tech. And boy, was it a little bit closer than you would like.
yeah, it was what a game, man. It was crazy. Like you said, to see Georgia Tech. I mean, they won, good, but I mean, to see Georgia Tech play like that, it was, I don't know, just weird to watch.
Well, and we were talking even last week about how Bill O'Brien was on the hot seat for next year. And then he goes out and, granted, they still lost, but you're not expecting that close of a game. Definitely a little bit more of a nail biter than expected.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien, like if he were to lose 9 games or whatever it was, 8 games like this, I mean, you ain't gonna blame. I don't think he'd be on the hot seat. I'm not gonna lie to you. If it was like this, there's losses and there's good losses, and this was a good loss for Bill O'Brien and this Boston College team. They put up a fight. They put up a fight. I have some
Yeah.
stats here in my notes. I'm
Yeah.
gonna read them to you. 362, 2 TDs for Dylan Lonergan. That's his name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Receiver Reed Harris, 142, 1 TD. The running back Turbo Richard. Turbo is a crazy name for running back, and it suits
Honestly,
that man,
ideal name.
right? 141, 2 TDs. Good for Turbo, but yeah, that Georgia Tech. I don't know. Georgia Tech's performers, even though they won, like Jordan Allen, 170 total yards, 54-yard TD, right? Um, so it's I don't know. It feels more like a win for Boston College than it does for Georgia Tech to me.
I guess you really figured out the win-win mentality, right?
I guess. So you know what? It's a Christmas spirit. It's bringing the good out of me, right?
Absolutely. You got to bring out the good in everything, man. But speaking of good, there was quite a few good games this week too. And one of the first games that we're really going to jump into here, Pitt versus Notre Dame. Obviously, Notre Dame bringing home the 37-15 win. And to all our viewers, I was really wrong about my prediction last week.
I I told you.
But what do you think about this game?
I got to give it to Notre Dame. I knew like I said, I'm gonna talk my talk right now, Tyler. Like I
Yeah.
told you, Notre Dame's gonna come out and win. CJ Carr, 21 for 32, 212 yards, 3 TDs. Jeremiah Love. I love me some Jeremiah Love. JL. 147, one TD. Malachi Fields had a good day too. 99 yards, two TDs.
Yeah.
Even Notre Dame's defense, they held Pitt to 212 total yards or 219, excuse me, total yards. Uh, whatever it is there. But yeah, they came out and they showed why Notre Dame is this
Yeah.
good to me, I think, right now.
They definitely showed why they're there to play, right? Like, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, their defense was solid this game. They made Pitt go 0 for 13 on third down efficiency.
Nah.
They got 4 sacks.
0 for 13 the 4 sacks speaks for itself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Pitt, I don't know what happened to them. They didn't show up, and it showed. It showed.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. And, as you said, even on the Notre Dame side, like, you're talking about how it's your wife's birthday weekend. Yeah, there's love on the football field and love in your household too, because holy shit, Jeremiah Love, 23 carries, 147 yards. Like, this guy's just putting one stellar week after one stellar week up, back to back to back to back to back. It's going to be like Star Wars. It's going to be 9 back to back editions of this soon enough.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and it's a joy to watch it, and it's a joy to watch Notre Dame again. I know they've been to the dance a couple times, or even to the playoffs, and it didn't go the way they wanted to. But this year, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much because it's Notre Dame and they have the track record of letting me down. But um, Jeremiah Love keeps balling out like that, and that defense keeps playing good. Then why not talk like that? I guess, right?
Well, as a Notre Dame Twitter said, all you need is love sometimes.
All you
Yeah,
need is a little love.
exactly. But enough with the really bad puns on this guy's name. Apologies, viewers. Overall, yeah, Notre Dame proved that they have the offensive weapons, and just like they did last week, they proved that they can use them. And additionally, I think it really strengthens Notre Dame's playoff chances because now their playoff hopes have gone up to, I want to say, 96%. Like, with
Wow.
96% certainty, they're going to make the playoffs. Like, how can you
Wow.
not be confident after that win, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, 96%, like that's wild. I still know there's a couple weeks left, I know, but I mean, it's theirs to lose again. It's everything's in Notre Dame's hand again, right? So, uh, we'll see.
And, 96%, that's a percentage I take on any test, any day of the week. So,
Oh yeah.
just once again, another good showing from them.
You know what? I'd even take the 69%. That's my favorite number.
Is that your dyslexia kicking in? Or as for Pitt, yeah, like they need a rebound next week. And as we said earlier, it's football, baby. Loss is loss, and yeah, you got to move on.
Yeah, you got to erase that out of the memory, and unfortunately, you look back, you learn from it, and on to next week for Pitt. And hopefully they can put out a better performance because they got another big one.
Absolutely. And even with that Notre Dame game, one of the things that I mentioned was because, as everyone knows, we here at College Football Unscripted love our kickers. And Notre Dame's kicker went 0 for 1 on field goals. So that raises a question of there's kickers quarrel with Notre Dame again, right? That's one of their main concerns. It's one of their fans' main concerns. And uh, just like Pitt, we got to look to next week. So yeah, speaking of kickers quarrels, how about that next game, Anthony? Alabama versus Oklahoma. A real heartbreaker, at least for
Yeah,
Alabama
that
fans.
yeah that game. Like I said, I got a buddy who's a Bama fan, and he was kind of silent on social media, and after that loss, but tough one for Alabama. I think we both picked that game last week, if I'm not mistaken.
We did.
Alabama, right?
We both picked them last week. With that being said, 2 negatives make a positive, right? So,
Yes.
Oklahoma, how about their upset win, right? Like, you get 12 first downs, you get what, 212 total yards in a game, and you still upset ranked
Yeah,
Alabama for it?
yeah,
And
yeah.
can I just say, there's only been 3 times in NCAA football history where a team has played a top 4 team and got 212 yards or less and still won. So Oklahoma joins history there, being a 4th iteration of that.
Well, yeah, and like Alabama's quarterback Ty Simpson, 326, 326 yards, one TD, and a loss. Like a loss. Okay, the running back had all right day two, got 2 TDs. That's pretty good for your RB, right? I'll take that. But at that staff for Ty is tough. But like you said, Oklahoma, like it's a win for Oklahoma that they can just cross off there and go, whoo, thank goodness, because we got to just move on here. That 87-yard pick six, I'll give that Peyton Bowen. He played wonderful. 87-yard pick six. That was huge. That was a big one. So Kip Lewis had 2 sacks as well, linebacker there for
Yeah.
Oklahoma. As much as we're saying this, there's obviously good because Oklahoma won, right? And they, I don't know if they deserved. I mean, they won.
But as you mentioned, like, just some of the defensive stats from Oklahoma, right? Like, they got 4 sacks. Alabama had 3 fumbles lost. Like, it's just a little bit messy, but Oklahoma found a way to persevere and work through that. And yeah, as you said, Simpson just, I don't know how a QB puts up that many yards, and then, or I don't know how he would feel after putting up that many yards and then walking away with a loss, right? Even the receivers like Bernard, Horton, Williams, Kavares, they all had very stellar games. Oklahoma was kind of just like a committee; everyone contributes. Alabama, everyone played very well and still lost, right?
And,
So like, it's
and they
that
still took the L. Yeah, yeah,
it's that
exactly.
it's that sneaky victory, sneaky victory for sure. The SEC is now playoff central. They have 5 playoff bids. What does it say for the other conferences, right? Or what does that say for
Yeah,
the players in the other conferences? If you want to be a playoff player, go to the SEC.
go to SEC. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, heck, if I was coming out right now and I was looking, I'd be looking at the SEC for sure right now. That's where I'd be looking at the school, right?
Absolutely. And let me ask you this. Do you think a very razor thin loss like this, where, as we said, Alabama played well and there really wasn't any like major reason why they lost, but do you think that's a wake up call for DeBoer?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely it is. I think it's a wake up call because he's got to call the game better. He's still the fact that he called the game like this and it was good. It wasn't good enough. Clearly, wasn't good enough. You put up what, 3 touchdowns? Yeah, 3 touchdowns, one rush, 2 rushing, and one throw. Right?
Yeah.
It's not one pass. Excuse me. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to win clearly, and you have to go back to the drawing board. He's got to look at himself because he had players that balled out and showed, hey, like we're here to play. Just tell us what to do, and we'll do it. And you know, it's a look. It's a sad look in the mirror for him for sure.
Like, as they probably head into playoff series, this is definitely one that he's going to have to reflect on for the future, right?
Yeah,
And speaking of a game that we need to reflect on, it's 2 teams we haven't covered yet here on College Football Unscripted Real Talk. We're going to look at the ASU versus West Virginia game next, where ASU
yes.
won 25-23. What do you think of the game, Anthony?
I thought it was wonderful. I haven't watched a lot of West Virginia football, but I need to start. I need to start. And even Arizona State, like it was exciting. I liked it. For Arizona State, Jeff Sims, 207 yards, 81 rushes and 3 TDs. They had I'm gonna try to pronounce this guy's last name, but I'm gonna butcher it, and I'm sorry. It's Derek
Use of
Sil
bio?
Eusebio, whatever. Anyway, 74 yards, 1 TD. Good game for him. Defense held West Virginia to 68 rushing yards. When you do that, whoo, that's a low score. That's a low one there.
Well, and despite their rushing efforts there, West Virginia, for a 4-7 program, put up 353 passing yards. So yeah, like a lot of their receivers just balled out when they got the opportunity, right? Vaughn went 3 for
Exactly.
79. Bowers went 2 for 89 yards. Weimer went 3 for 90 yards, with all the latter two having touchdowns, right? So
Yeah.
they're making the most out of their opportunities. It's just they weren't able to put it together, and just like Alabama, they weren't able to put the last couple of steps in to secure that win. But yeah, they definitely outplayed ASU offensively. But yeah, just another game where the team like that doesn't get the win.
No, yeah, and like I said, like who do you look at when you got your players putting up numbers statistically, and you're still taking a loss. You got to look as a head coach. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing something wrong. Me as maybe not me as the coach, maybe the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whatever special teams. You got to take a look at something and say, okay, time to self-reflect as a program and as individuals. And that's what West Virginia's got to do.
And after a loss like that, they're probably channeling their inner John Denver, saying "Country roads take me home," because they really need to go down those country roads to find out what they did wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Shout out West Virginia. I enjoyed this game. Shout out Arizona State. I loved this game. It was a good one. I liked it. Scotty Fox Jr. Wow. I liked it.
Absolutely. And that 49-yard ASU field goal to secure their win.
Yeah.
Like,
That I mean, but I like you said here, we love kickers on this show. And that one, and now, yeah, that's there we go. And that one is it's great to see a kicker succeed. I love watching a big kick, a good one, and that kick won the game for him. So shout out, I don't know his name, I forget his name, but shout out
Lopez.
ASU kicker. Yeah, shout out. No.
And yeah, just another thing too is ASU kind of remains one of the most penalized teams in the league again, right? But
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. When you're penalized like that, it's big. It's an issue. Again, it's a coaching issue. You got to look at the coach, right? He's got to look at himself.
absolutely, obviously having coming away with the win despite any of the issues has got to feel good for ASU. Anyone else got to feel good for ASU? Despite their QB, their starting QB, Levitt, going down with a season-ending injury earlier this year, they've kind of unlocked a new level to their recent Nebraska transfer Sims as one of the biggest dual threat QBs in their conference right now.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. It sucks to lose the guy that you counted on and you're going into training camp and whatever you're doing with him. And he's the dude. But it's good to see the backup come in and perform the way he's been performing and the team take him and go with him as well.
Yeah.
Allow him to be the leader in the locker room, like I'm sure he is, or like every quarterback is in every locker room, or should be anyway. And it's nice to see. I like a good story like that. Good for ASU, and good for Sims, right?
We always joke about how quarterbacks should be getting a lot of attention from their athletic therapists. But hell, Sims rushed more in this game for ASU than their actual running back did, right? Sims rushed 19
Absolutely.
times.
That's wild. 19 rushes is crazy.
And for reference, their actual running back, Raleek Brown, rushed only 14 times. So talk about just a little bit of a tush push. or whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got to get a nice massage, some acupuncture, go in the ice bath for a little while, something, because he's going to be hurt. 19 rushes, dude, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. That's a lot for running back or a
He got
quarterback.
70 yards out of it, so clearly whatever he's doing is working. But it's a
Yeah,
lot, yeah. ASU has won 3 of their last 4 games. So they're kind of on a little bit of a roll.
yeah. That's it's good for ASU to see them win, and like I said, like Jeff Sims, it's good to see him going out there and getting confidence in himself and getting some wins under his belt and getting the fans and the students and the people there that and believe in him, believing in the program. So good for him.
Absolutely, and turns out even when we're not talking about the Nebraska Cornhuskers, we find a way to include them in the conversation because he's one of the transfers from Nebraska. But
Exactly.
speaking of transfers, let's transfer to our next game, Missouri versus Mississippi State.
Heck of a game, Tyler. Heck of a game, I must say.
Absolutely, and boy, did Missouri really rebound in this game, right? They went out last week, collected that kind of whimpering loss, and then this week against the Bulldogs, they put up close to 50 points.
Yeah, man. When you're putting up close to a 50 spot on someone, it's a good game. Their running back Ahmed Hardy, 300 rushing yards, 3 TDs. Wow, wow. I liked watching him. I don't know about you, Tyler, but I enjoyed watching him. And their quarterback Matt Zoller's there, 112 yards, 2 TDs. And their defense played well, great as well. So yeah,
Absolutely. And speaking of Hardy, like we were talking just last game about how people get so many rushing yards and how they need to be looked after a little bit more. He's really staying true to his name because he must have a hardy body. He had 25 carries. I felt like I was
yeah,
watching him every single drive almost.
yeah. But listen, I like a good running back that just goes out there like he didn't look tired to me at all. 25 carries, 300 yards, 3 TDs, and I don't even remember seeing him hit with his hands on his hips. That's the type of quarterback that I like. That reminds me of a certain someone. You know what I mean? And when you remind me of a certain someone, that's good. That's good. So shout out CMC and shout out to the 49ers who won today. Dogs, let's go.
Yeah, and just speaking of dogs too, like Missouri's even their receivers, like they didn't get a whole lot of opportunities that game, but when they did, they made it count.
Yeah, no, they did, and that's what happens. You need to make them count when you get your opportunities, and when you do that, you put up well, not a 50 spot, but pretty close, pretty close to a 50 spot, right?
And yeah, just like even their offense in general, it was 5 for 10 on third down efficiency. That's pretty solid. I think that's what probably that 50% ratio is probably one of the best that we've covered here at College Football Unscripted's Real Talk so far. And
Yeah,
unlike a lot of other games we covered, yeah, this was a rush heavy game, and yeah, just a lot to like, and a lot of just nitty gritty football.
yeah, exactly. And for Mississippi State, like, there's not too much to talk about them because they didn't come out and play very well, but Blake Shapen, 199 yards, 2 TDs, their quarterback there. Not a good performance for Mississippi State overall. Sucks to see because I enjoy when Mississippi State's good. But good for Missouri. Good for Missouri football.
Yeah, and you know where some teams fall, all the teams are gonna rise, and as we said earlier, that's football, baby.
That's football.
So speaking of football, Anthony, should we transfer to our next game of the week? Georgia versus Texas. And let me just say that saying about Texas, where everything's bigger, is true because it also includes their losses.
Yeah. They took a beat down. Um, Georgia came out and just showed them who's boss. It Matthew McConaughey, he was in the building there watching the game. That's I was gonna say Mike McCarthy, but there's a big difference between the two there. But anyway, yeah, he was in there and they let him down. I didn't see him after the third quarter there. I think he left. But yeah, Gunner stopped 220, 229 yards, 14 E's, one rushing TD there for Georgia. Uh, what a game he had. I liked watching him. That was a good one. Noah Thomas, the wide receiver there, two TD catches. Their defense, short of defense, Tyler, just allowed 23 rushing yards. When you're allowed 23 rushing yards, you become one-dimensional. And we
Yeah.
know how we don't like that one-dimensional football on this podcast here because when you become one-dimensional, you what?
Become boring
You
and
become
predictable.
boring. Exactly.
Yeah.
You become boring and predictable, and you take the loss. And when you do that, I mean the game's over before it even starts. But
And
yeah,
let me just say, Anthony, maybe I should be going with the favorites for predictions this week because this was another game I took Texas on, and I think I'm 0 for 3 on predictions. I think obviously Arch Manning went 27 for 43, 251 yards, but just wasn't enough, right? And that's not necessarily just on him, but this is kind of very much just like the Longhorns. It's kind of a horn in their road now for the playoffs if they're even have any chances left of making the playoffs now.
yeah, it's and we it sucks because we praised Arch on this podcast. I think twice, the last two episodes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
If you want to go back and check them out for the fans that haven't seen. Quick plug here.
nice little plug
um,
there.
thank you. But yeah, I was shocked. But like we say repeatedly on this show, when you only rush for 23 yards, you become one-dimensional football. There's no way you can win becoming
No,
one-dimensional. And this is another thing that proved it. It's going to be interesting to see how and where they get placed and how the loss is handled and whoever handles the rankings takes it. But I don't know, man. I don't even think they're going to be in come next week. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because we like our Texas football here on the podcast. But
well, and just like what I said last week, you can only have so many good games in a row before that sports karma eventually catches up with you, right? And
yeah,
yeah, do we expect them to rebound? Yeah, sure. Will it be a little bit too late? Maybe. But yeah, this was just another one of their off games, and like what can you really do? And unlike the games that we talked about earlier, where Alabama and West Virginia played well but still lost, we kind of know why Texas lost in this one, right? As we've kind of harped on, it was a one-dimensional game. It became predictable, and that's not going to lead to a lot of W's on your record, right? Like Texas only had 15 first downs in the entire game.
yeah.
So
That's you ain't winning football when you have 15 first downs. Like it's
no, and then obviously each team threw an interception and whatnot, but when you're going for Texas, they went 2-12 on their third down efficiency. I know here at College Football Unscripted, I am a real harker on third down efficiency, but I think that's one of the most crucial stats in a football game because if you're going 2 for 12, you're not showing any clutch and you're not getting the plays when you need them.
no. You're absolutely right. Like third down conversions are very, very, very important. The percentage is needs to be high, at least 50%, because if you don't get making them on third down, that means you're punting most of the time, and punting doesn't equal the points. So you're 100% right, Tyler. I agree with you on everything you just said. Couldn't say it any more perfectly than that.
Obviously, I know there is a little bit of controversy when it comes to the officiating in this one, but I feel like, especially in sports, when fans are harping on the refs, a lot of the time it's not necessarily justified. And yeah, you know what? Maybe it didn't necessarily help them in this one, but as we've talked about, and as we're sounding like a broken record, that's football, right? There's going to be good calls,
Yeah.
there's going to be bad calls. You can't necessarily just blame one aspect of the game and say, oh, well, that's why.
Yeah, no, no, exactly. Like you're not 2 for 12 on third downs because the referee. You're 2 for 12 on third downs because you, something's wrong with you as a team, right? And and blaming the referee is just kind of like a pour out for me. Pour out is when you blame the referee for everything. You can blame the referee in every sport. Uh, Baseball, hockey, basketball. Baseball's a big one because that ball's coming at you freaking 100 miles an hour. Right? You
Yeah.
gotta see it going that little square. And football, everything's happening so fast. Yeah, you got replays, you got people harping on you, but you're not gonna listen to the drunk fans in the third row telling you it's a flag. Like you gotta tune that guy out. Plus, you
Yeah.
have to make a decision. But like it's a lot of work, man. I'm not a big lover of the referees, but to sit here and say, it's the referee's issue, fault that they lost. You can't say that. Texas fans that are doing it, shame on you. Take this loss with your head held high and move on to the next one. And point your fingers at yourselves because that's how you lost the game.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where, yeah, you got to move on to the next game. And, but speaking of things that don't happen a whole lot, another Texas team, North Texas, is now ranked 22nd, which is the first time that they've been nationally ranked since 1959. So where one Texas team is losing, one other Texas team is certainly winning.
Yeah, I've never seen a North Texas University fan. I'm sure there's a lot of them in Texas. And good for them, man. Like that's got to be such a great feeling for the school, for the students there, and for the players as well. Like an accomplishment, something hasn't been done since 1959, like geez, the 60s. Like that's wild. And congratulations to them. I hope they continue this and move on and show why Texas is real good. I love a good underdog story. And go North Texas, baby. Go North Texas.
It might just be an all Texas playoffs at this point. Goodness. I mean, outside of the
Hey,
Longhorns now,
I'm here
well,
for it. I'm here for it. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Friggin' Longhorns, man. But yeah.
and even with Longhorns are known for being quite angry a lot of the time, so makes sense that they're not in there. You know who else was quite angry this week, Anthony?
Who was it, brother?
Well, I don't know if you saw the clip making its rounds on social media, but the cop that ran into, I want to say, was it the South Carolina Gamecocks players?
Yeah, it was. Do you want to touch up on that first, or you want me to go ahead on it? What
You
would you
you
like?
can
Okay. Okay, listen. I love the boys in blue, okay? Or state trooper, whatever it was. I love the police. I'm a big police guy, okay? It's a very tough job to do. But it looks like from my living room and my TV on the couch that it did almost something on purpose. Like he could have just been like, "Oh, sorry, excuse me." He was in the way, whatever, and the guy would have just moved around him. But it kind of looked like to me, went out of his way to hit him, and that's just a little idiotic and a little stupid.
well, yeah,
And
and then just the whole like he was throwing his finger around and getting all angry at the players, and they're like, "What?" We're just, like, because right before that, one of their teammates went hobbling into the locker room because I believe he pulled his ACL or MCL or something. And like
yeah,
for,
something.
the, for those of you guys that don't know that, when you pull a muscle like that, you can't stop. You're not, or at least you're not supposed to stop, right? So
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
hobbling along, and they went to check on him, and then that incident or whatever you want to call it happened as they were leaving from checking on their teammate who obviously they were concerned about, right? Just like how I choose what to engage with on Instagram, you got to learn when to pick your fights. And that certainly wasn't one of them.
No, no, no. And you're hey, that take there. You should become a doctor or a family physician or something like that. Because that was good.
If it's any consolation, I'm about as much of a doctor as Dr. Phil. We that being neither of us have professional
Oh,
accreditations.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. The closest I'm ever getting to a doctor status is Dr. Seuss, and I even have trouble reading those. So it's but anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right. When you that's a huge injury for that player. I hope he's okay. I didn't even
Yeah.
look up on him or anything. I hope he's okay. I hope it's I hope it's not as serious as we're talking about. Um, but yeah, that state trooper's got to look at himself in the mirror just like a lot of that coaches do in this week's episode.
Gotta blow off some steam. On that same note, speaking of blowing off steam, our blowout of the week is 2-8 Nevada beating San Jose State 55-10 this last weekend. For reference, Anthony, Nevada, who, if you haven't known, as I just said, is 2-8, they scored 52 points in all of October. They got 55 points in their first, or I guess their second game of November. That's going to be a feel good moment for that program.
Yeah, good for Nevada. Good for Nevada, man. Their quarterback Carter Jones had a wonderful day. The running back as well. I think they had a defensive back Jackson go for a 66-yard interception return. So it was a good week, a good game for Nevada. And it's hey man, you got your wins even if they're against San Jose State. Not knocking San Jose State because they're a decent football program.
Yeah.
But still, good for Nevada. Great win, great brawl win. They came, they saw, they conquered, and on to the next week for Nevada and San Jose State too.
Well, and you know who else came and conquered? The Roman Empire. And just like the Roman Empire, there's also a second iteration of blowout of the week, and that's Northern Illinois beating UMass 45-3. Now, just like the cop video, this was another video making its rounds because after UMass scored their only field goal of the game, they then set off fireworks and pyro and all that.
Yeah, that's I mean, I think that was something just to get the fans, you know, a little something into
Yeah,
it, right? Because when you're getting what was the score again, Tyler? What was the score you said?
45-3.
Oh yeah, like when you're 45-3, like come on, you just doing something to get your fans into it and keep them entertained, I guess. Whatever. I don't know.
I also believe UMass is one of the few programs that is 0-10 this year. So
That's
definitely
crazy.
something to work on there. Just like how we talked about Bill O'Brien last week, UMass, very much like Boston College, is known for their hockey, but maybe football is expansion forward for the next season. Who knows? But
Yeah.
speaking of next, you know what's coming up next, Anthony?
What's up next, brother?
Our predictions of the week. Time for me
Oh,
time for me to go 0-4 for next week,
hey,
just like last week.
hey,
So
listen, just listen to me this week, okay? Listen to me. Don't trust yourself. Trust me. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. I'll lead you down the wrong path.
the first game for our predictions is Oregon versus USC.
I'm gonna take Oregon. I'm gonna take Oregon. Uh, 37-24.
I'll go Oregon 30-23.
There you go. There you go. We're learning. All right.
I'm educated.
Yeah. Oh man.
And then our next game is BYU versus Cincinnati.
Um, that's a good game, man. I'm gonna go BYU. I like BYU. They're a good program. No, not Cincinnati, but BYU gets my wheels turning this year. So give me BYU. I'm gonna go, geez, 27-14.
I'll go BYU 20-17.
There we go. Hey.
And then the next game is Mizzou versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, give me Oklahoma.
Or
I'm
Missouri,
gonna,
sorry.
yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna go Oklahoma 40-25. Oklahoma.
Real talk on Real Talk football. I was also going to go Oklahoma over Missouri here too. Probably let's
There
go
we go.
45-25.
There we go.
And
That's
then
good.
our last game of the week is Louisville versus SMU.
Ooh, Louisville's on a little bit of so I'm gonna go SMU. No, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna take the underdog in this one. I'm gonna pull a Tyler. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Louisville upsetting SMU 27-20. Give me Louisville 27-20.
I guess this is where we depart our separate ways then, because I'm going to go
Oh,
SMU on this one. I'm going to go
hey.
SMU 37-17 over Louisville or Louisville.
Wow, okay. Okay. All
They've
right.
just been on a downward slide, and you know, just like my rate of predictions, I want my slide to go up instead of down. So I'm going to go SMU.
Yeah, I just something about like that slide, like it's gonna come to an end at some point, right? And I'm not saying SMU is a team that it could happen to, but I could see it, right? So
Well, and with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't sound like a broken record already, that's football. And thank you so much for listening to and watching another edition of CFB Unscripted's Real Talk. I'm your host, Tyler, with my co host, Anthony. Tell me, Anthony, where can the people find you?
hey, I'm on X, Total Sports underscore HQ, and also on TikTok, Total Sports underscore HQ. Look up Anthony as well on there for my
Oh,
personal one. So
thank you so
absolutely.
much. Join us next week. We'll talk at you then. Stay well.